The question is, what is truly happening when a married man starts looking at you differently, with a focus that seems to escape traditional boundaries? To answer this, we must look beyond the obvious. Often, the desire that arises quietly is like a seed growing in the dark, without noise or clear confrontation. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, yet its presence runs deep within us, universal and human. And as Carl Jung taught us, what we resist persists, what we accept transforms. You, woman seeking to understand the signals, perhaps have already sensed that warmth in your skin. A glance that feels like it wants to pierce your soul, but never manifests in direct words. Maybe a seemingly ordinary message, carrying an emotional charge far beyond what it appears, hints at something beneath the surface. At this moment, a profound truth becomes evident. The signs that show a married man desires another woman are not born from loud declarations or obvious gestures. They whisper through small gestures, shifts in behavior, and subtle energies. Recognizing these signals isn't about paranoia or jumping to conclusions, but about developing awareness of the invisible dynamics that play beneath the surface of routine interactions. Because desire often is not about betrayal or scandal. It's a need to be seen, admired, valued, an unconscious craving to feel alive amidst the monotony of everyday life. It's about filling a void that routines, silence, and emotional neglect have created. These signals are the clues of a deeper story, one written in the language of the unconscious, waiting to be understood before they grow into something more tangible and difficult to undo. Imagine the energy in the room shifting subtly whenever he's near you. A glance that lingers a little longer, a smile with a different spark, a tone of voice that becomes softer, more intimate. You may not notice immediately, but your intuition registers it. That's because, deep down, you're subconsciously decoding these signals. Your inner compass recognizes what the eyes and body language reveal, even when words don't. It's essential, at this moment, to realize that these mini-signals are not accidental. An unconscious desire manifests through small acts, an extra lingering glance, a slight change in tone, a subtle smile, that signals a craving for connection that goes beyond mere friendliness. And these signals don't scream, they whisper. 1 of the first signs is the difference in his gaze. Does he look at you with an intensity that seems to want to unlock a secret? Does that look linger longer than usual, as if he's trying to memorize or absorb something about your essence? These glances are not casual, they are deliberate, or at least partly unconscious. Carl Jung believed that what we resist persists, and this applies perfectly here. The desire, when unconsciously felt, finds ways to communicate through the eyes even when words are held back. Another clue lies in how he interacts with you, how his body language shifts. Perhaps his posture becomes more open, more relaxed around you, or he unconsciously leans in a little closer in conversations. Small gestures like a gentle touch on the arm or playful teasing are often signs that he's seeking a connection beyond what he openly admits. These gestures are miniature gateways, opening doors to a desire that is quietly brewing underneath his conscious awareness. It's also important to observe the energy between you. Does he seem more attentive, more focused on your presence than on others? Is there an extra care in the way he listens, a warmth in his responses that is absent in the way he interacts with others? These nuances, the micro-expressions and energy shifts, are the silent language of desire. Paying close attention to them is like learning to read a language that is written in gestures instead of words. Additionally, the power of his eye contact often reveals his unspoken intentions. A prolonged gaze, a fleeting look that holds just a second longer than necessary, or an attempt to hold your gaze as if trying to communicate something without words, these are signs that his subconscious is speaking loud and clear, even when he's trying to hide it. But understanding these signs requires more than just identifying small behaviors. It demands a deep listening to your intuition, a recognition that something nonverbal is trying to surface, signaling an emotional or physical urge that he may not even fully acknowledge himself. When you start sensing this energy, it's as if your inner voice is whispering, "Notice this." There's more beneath the surface. Remember, desire is not always expressed through grand gestures. Often, it manifests in the tiniest details. The way he adjusts his position when talking to you, the glint in his eyes when he smiles, or the slight pause he takes before replying. These are the clues, like pieces of a puzzle, that when assembled, reveal a story of unspoken longing. So, if you're noticing these subtle signals, don't rush to assumptions or judgments. Instead, embrace a perspective of awareness. These signs are part of a complex human expression of unmet needs, longing for validation, or simply a craving to feel alive. Recognizing them is not about labeling or condemning, but understanding, an act of compassion for yourself and others. To truly grasp what's happening underneath, you must observe with care and without guilt. These signs, though invisible at first, are the threads that connect our deepest emotional landscapes. The critical step now is to cultivate this awareness, to listen to your intuition and understand that behind every gaze, gesture, and tone lies a story waiting to be understood. Because in the silent language of desire, the most profound truths emerge not through words, but through the energy we emit and receive in moments of vulnerability and longing. Those are the signals that, when read correctly, can guide you towards clarity and inner peace, helping you navigate these subtle yet powerful currents moving beneath the surface. If you found value in this awareness, take a moment now. Subscribe, like, comment, and share this message. You're part of a conscious community that seeks to understand the complex woven fabric of human relationships. As you've begun to observe the small gestures and energies, it's crucial to understand that desire does not always announce itself with grand gestures or obvious words. Instead, it often reveals itself through the delicate shifts in behavior, the unspoken language of the subconscious. Recognizing these signals requires gentle awareness and a deep attunement to the subtle cues that often go unnoticed by the casual observer. One of the most telling signs is the deliberate shaping of routines, how he reshapes his day around these encounters with you. Small adjustments in his schedule, an unexpected coincidence that puts him in the same space at the same time, or an increase in casual conversations, all indicate a conscious or unconscious attempt to create proximity. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart," and these strategic routines highlight where his heart is truly invested, even if it's hidden beneath layers of social propriety. Think about his movements. Does he find reasons to ask for your assistance? Does he create chances to meet you, even in minor ways, such as extending his work breaks, adjusting his route to pass by your usual spots, or finding excuses to start a conversation? These behaviors demonstrate a desire that seeks to become more than superficial, a craving to build an emotional or physical proximity that feels safe yet forbidden. However, it isn't merely about location or timing. It's also about what he chooses to say and the way he says it. Words carry emotional vibrations, a concept Jung beautifully explored when he emphasized the projection of unconscious aspects through language. When a man begins to speak to you in a more personal, emotionally charged manner, it's a signal that he perceives you differently. Does he compliment you more often than others, subtly highlighting qualities that he may no longer see appreciated at home? Does he use words that seem casual but are loaded with unspoken admiration? For example, phrases like, "You always know," "How to brighten my day," or "You have such a calming presence" may sound innocent. But look at the context and the emotion behind them. These expressions are not just polite, they are acts of symbolic projection. He is, in essence, assigning to you the qualities that he subconsciously seeks: validation, admiration, connection. When these compliments become more frequent and more exclusive, they point to a desire to connect on a level beyond the superficial. And it's not just what he says, it's how he delivers it. The intensity in his eyes when he speaks, the softness in his tone, the pauses between words. These are the silent cues that reveal a longing for emotional closeness. Carl Jung suggested that language acts as a tool for projection, and when his words seem to focus specifically on your qualities, he's unconsciously transferring deeper parts of himself onto you. Another subtle yet powerful sign is the increase in the frequency of contact. More messages, more reasons to initiate conversations, more excuses to stay in touch. This is often a slow yet deliberate intensification of connection. Nearly every interaction becomes an opportunity to deepen the bond, even if it remains superficial on the surface. He might start sharing small details about his life, revealing vulnerabilities he wouldn't normally divulge, such as expressing feelings of stress, dissatisfaction, or loneliness. When someone is craving connection, they seek validation, affirmation of their worth, their attractiveness, their identity. In the realm of desire, this validation often comes from those they perceive as emotionally aligned or receptive. The signs of this include asking questions about your opinions, your feelings, and your desires. Sometimes even seeking your approval about minor decisions. These are not random queries. They are attempts to embed you deeper into his emotional landscape. The language becomes more playful, flirtatious, often laced with double meanings or subtle teasing. Jokes or comments with hidden connotations emerge, creating a private universe, shared only between you. The use of affectionate nicknames or conspiratorial humor highlights a desire for intimacy, an emotional closeness that goes beyond ordinary friendliness. Such moments, small as they may seem, create an emotional thread, a gentle but persistent pull that draws two energies closer. And then, there is the element of body language. Notice if he unconsciously mirrors your posture or gestures, what psychologists call mirroring or embodied empathy. This subconscious mimicry signals a desire to align emotionally and physically, creating a sense of harmony or unspoken connection. Perhaps he leans in when you do, or his feet point toward you when he's engaged. These involuntary behaviors are the body's language revealing deep desires to connect on a subconscious level. The most crucial aspect of these signs is the consistent theme, the desire to unify, to be close, to feel validated. When someone begins to seek your opinion, share personal truths, or adjust their routines just to share moments with you, they are unconsciously elevating you into a space of emotional significance. They might not even be fully aware of the intensity of these shifts, but your perception acts as a mirror to their hidden longing. Yet it's important to remember, these signs are not mistakes or coincidences. They are invitations, discreet, fragile, full of potential. Your awareness of this subtle language can serve as a compass, guiding you to better understand what's happening beneath the surface. This knowledge empowers you to decide how to respond, whether to distance yourself or to confront these signals with clarity and compassion. If you realize that someone's energy, gestures, and words are conveying a desire that may be rooted in unmet needs or emotional longing, pause and reflect. It's an invitation to look inward and consider what you're truly seeking and what boundaries you need to establish. Desire, when recognized early, can be a teacher, showing us where we can grow, heal, and choose consciously. Pay attention to those double meanings, the rapid heartbeat in your chest when you exchange glances, the way your energy subtly shifts when he's near. These are the whispers of the unconscious, speaking truths that words often cannot. Together, understanding these signs brings clarity, not to judge, but to empower you to make conscious choices about your path. As you absorb these subtle signals, the lingering glances, the caress of words, the delicate shifts in routines, it's time to see the bigger picture. Desire does not merely exist in the external. It dwells within us, manifesting through invisible energies, unspoken words, and unconscious projections. When a married man begins to show these signs, he is revealing much more than a fleeting attraction. He is exposing a profound need, one that often masks deep emotional emptiness or longing for connection. What's truly fascinating and sometimes frightening is how desire can grow quietly, almost imperceptibly, until it reaches a threshold that demands acknowledgement. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This means that awareness is not just an intellectual exercise, it's a vital act of self-empowerment. When you recognize these signals, you gain clarity. You reclaim your power to choose consciously. The truth is, Desire, when hidden, becomes a powerful force that can steer your emotional landscape without your realizing it. It's easy to mistake these subtle signs for innocent admiration, but the energy underneath often signals something much deeper, an unmet emotional need, a longing for validation, or a subconscious attempt to escape routine reality. Recognizing these signs requires honest reflection, not judgment. It's about witnessing the situation responsibly and compassionately, both towards yourself and others. Many women ask, "What should I do when I see these signs?" The answer is simple yet profound. Pause, breathe, and reflect. Your emotional well-being depends on your ability to discern the difference between genuine connection and an imbalance driven by unmet needs. You deserve relationships where love, honesty, and integrity flourish freely, where your worth is not rooted in being a refuge or an escape, but in mutual respect and authentic desire. Remember, desire can be a teacher. It can tell us what's been missing, what needs healing, and what boundaries must be protected. When you see these signs, an intense gaze, emotional sharing, subtle routines, you are receiving a message from your own intuition. It's an invitation to deepen your understanding of your internal landscape, to heal what needs healing, and to set clear, loving boundaries. Face these signals with courage, not fear. Ask yourself, what am I truly seeking? Is this connection serving my highest good? Am I filling a void, or am I building a foundation of genuine love? You are not here to judge or condemn. Instead, you're here to wake up, to see clearly, and to choose compassionately. Because ultimately, the greatest act of self-love is to honor your boundaries, your peace, and your integrity. The power lies in your awareness. When you acknowledge the existence of desire without shame or guilt, you gain control over your emotions. You decide whether to walk away, to deepen the connection consciously, or to redefine your boundaries entirely. Your worth remains untouched by temporary attractions or fleeting passions. Your value is in your capacity to love yourself and to love others with honesty and respect. Now imagine a life where you no longer chase shadows or get lost in illusions. Instead, you walk your path with clarity, awareness, and inner strength. You recognize the quiet signals before they become loud, before they turn into something more complicated or painful. This is the essence of conscious living, knowing yourself enough to make choices grounded in love, truth, and integrity. The final message I want to leave you with is this: desire is universal. It's part of our human experience. But how we respond to it defines our journey. You have the power to choose your emotional story. Not to react impulsively, but to respond consciously. To see desire not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth. To view boundaries not as limitations, but as acts of self-respect. Because you deserve love that is whole, transparent, and free. As Jung once said, what is made conscious can be transformed. Today, you have the awareness to transform your understanding of desire, connection, and boundaries. Let this be a reminder that every emotion, every signal, and every encounter is a sacred invitation, an opportunity to deepen your understanding of yourself and your relationships. If this message resonates with you, take a moment now. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Your voice adds to a movement of women and men seeking clarity, authenticity, and love rooted in integrity. Together, we are awakening to the deeper truths of human connection, and you are an essential part of this journey. Remember, desire, when recognized and understood, becomes a compass, not a trap. It guides us towards self-awareness, genuine love, and inner peace. May you walk your path consciously, with courage and compassion, knowing you are worthy of love in its purest form.